Here I am, Leon C., aka Morpheus. You're now listening to the Academy of Wow Men. And here today, I have another wonderful lesson for you today. I don't know if it's going to reach enough of you. I don't know if you care to listen. I don't know you out here in social media land listen to the sound of my voice, if this even matters to you. If it's going to make a change in the world. Sometimes I think that I'm putting messages in a bottle and just throwing it in the ocean. And who knows where it's going to land. You know, it may land in, well, we don't know. Who's going to reach it? You know, who's the diver? Who's going to find it? Maybe they might find it 100 years from now, 50 years, today, tomorrow. I don't know. But I put these things out here, like I said before, to pretty much help someone. I mean, not everyone. But it may change somebody's life, maybe even save their life. It may even make a little difference in the society for the positive. That way, when I get on my space shuttle and I transfer out of here, I can at least look back and say, well, I did the best I can do to help a average individual out of their struggles. Therefore, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, you see the title there. How did they do it? How did they do it? See, if you put together all my messages and all my lessons, maybe piece by piece, you begin to follow the breadcrumb to the entire message that I'm constantly giving unto you, because humanity is on a decline. You're on a decline. And in some countries, even more still. I appreciate America. I appreciate the USA, but however, as a first world country, there's pretty much no excuse with all the amenities, technologies, and the advancement that you have, but there's something that we do not have, and that is good sense. I'm not going to say common sense. I'm just going to say good sense. But I'm not going to get into that right now. Let's go ahead and discuss the message today. Our great-grandparents, our mothers and our fathers of the lands before today. This is another question I'm actually answering, and I'm going to make it as simple as possible. How did they do it, LCM? How did they survive? How did they last for so long? Well, I'm going to tell you how they last for so long. I know how. I'm not going to say this is my opinion. I'm not even going to say that this is someone else's words. I'm not even going to tell you that this is, I've sat under my grandparents. No, this is based on information that I've gathered, based on what you can get, based on, again, watching human development. You don't have to be a genius. I don't have to be a doctor. I don't have to be a scientist. I don't have to be a rocket scientist. I don't have to be, endowed with so many degrees that I can change the thermostat of the world. No, not necessarily. Not at all. But there is something that I can be, as somebody with a good sense of reality. Keep my eyes and my ears and my focus clearly on basic reality. See, before the social media era, before the expansion of technology and obese people sitting behind a computer screen, before the lackadaisical mindset, the unnecessary piety of false religions in masses, that is, based on it being a business, because it's a business now. Before the entwinement of the internet conversations that we have, aka social media, Grandma and Grandpa had a thing called simplicity. They had a simple life. Yes, I've said plenty of things about how older men was responsible for a lot of the developments of every problem or enigma, or not every, excuse me, a lot of, if not the majority of the issues that we deal with, because men was once the leaders, or is the leaders, and is held to a certain standard and performance. And of course, I went over this thing called there's a sense of awareness within a man that leaves him with no excuse whenever things get out of control, because he has the power in his hands. However, in this situation, both male and female, being grandma and grandpa, had a, you could say, universal responsibility. And that universal responsibility was called, are you ready? It was called survival. Not only survival of themselves, but survival of the family, survival of their offspring, survival of their legacy. But there's something else that they had as well that we don't have, which is what I critique the majority of you on a constant basis. They had long vision. They had long vision. See, what you don't know, or many of you don't comprehend, is that they didn't look at money as God. They didn't praise it as the number one asset to existence. What they valued in those days with our grandmothers and grandfathers was each other. That's right. They valued each other. They valued each other's presence. They valued each other's existence. They acknowledged each other's existence. And the number one thing that they did as well, there's lots of number ones here, is that they knew and they thought and they practiced that partner, their companion, their spouse, was their future. Their spouse is valuable in their life, and they need their spouse. So much so where they dealt with whatever flaws that the other person had. She dealt with him stepping out every now and then, going to cigar lounge, going to the gambling casino, going to fish at the docks a little too long, going to the juke joint a little too long, coming back smelling like a little bit of perfume, a little bit of cigar, a little bit of strange. She dealt with that. He, on the other hand, also dealt with the fact that she's not the most beautiful woman in the land. He dealt with the fact that she gained maybe 40, 50 pounds, sometimes 30. He dealt with it. No, he dealt with the reality that she's not going to be beautiful all the time. She was going to change when he met her, maybe at random number 22, 23 years old, sometimes 21. And so he may have stepped out. It's getting loud, baby. Turn down that microphone over there. Jesus. All right. So, he dealt with that. And not only did he deal with that, there was something that made it more secure for him to stay, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know what it is? The fact that she didn't have Instagram. She didn't have Facebook. She wasn't jumping in and out on the internet. She wasn't a boss babe. She wasn't walking around talking about I'm strong and independent. Listen, she was more interested in staying home and or making the home, or just simply being by his side. See, her opportunities women are constantly chased anyway in multiple forms of fashions. Not to say that grandma didn't get down. Okay, let's not say that. I'm pretty sure she got down once in a while. I'm pretty sure she had her promiscuous ways, okay? Women aren't angels and they're not innocent. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, her pool of promiscuous choices was very small. Maybe just a town, maybe this is a city, whatever stores she drove to, just very simple areas, town, country. And so, without the other negative influences, because that's what it is, of other women talking about she's stupid for staying home and taking care of her husband, without other girls trying to be negative inspirations like your popular music singers and your artists talking about strong and independent, I'm a boss, babe, I can do it all by myself, let me drop that WAP, that sort of BS. So she wasn't negatively influenced. She wasn't negatively influenced. Let me say that again. She was not negatively influenced, as most girls are negatively influenced today. If you want to find out how your society operates, find their leaders. Ask them who they watch. Who are they watching? What music are they listening to? Who is their favorite actress or singer, artists? What do they watch on their social media? What do they constantly see on their phones? If you follow that and you take a look at it, you can quickly identify what type of girl this girl is and what she's going to become eventually. But however, grandma didn't have that. But what she had was the insight, same as grandpa, to say, we are going to be together and we're going to deal with it. So here's a key, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to try to make it short and sweet of what I know and what you should know. But unfortunately, we're trying to reset the mind of the society because you went too far. There are some computers that when they default or they crash or they go bad for a moment or the algorithms aren't quite corrected, the computer doesn't operate correctly. Sometimes you have to reset the computer. You got to unplug it and plug it back in. There are some technology or devices that are that way. It won't turn on for you. It doesn't operate correctly. You just unplug it for a couple of seconds and put it back in and it will correct itself. That's what needs to be done to society because, well, we don't comprehend these simple things that we make so complex, because now we want to be, everybody wants to say, I am a lawnmower. The other person want to say, I am a truck. Then you got a group of people saying that I am a white wall. Some other people are saying I am a banana tree. You got other people saying I am a hippopotamus. Then you got other races of humans that's saying, well, I'm non-human. I don't identify as human. I identify as a tree stump. And then you got other people that you get the drift. I don't identify as nothing. So therefore, if you do this, ladies and gentlemen, and here's the psychology, don't get upset, don't get your panties. I've already gave you my disclaimer over and over again. I mean no bias. This channel is open to everybody. And I'm an equal opportunity, intellectual engagement, right? Of proper facts and real information that you can figure out for yourself. So it's not based on hatred. So if you think that, then you're on the wrong channel. Go somewhere else. So when you add too much confusion, or you say too much is going on at one time, you're confused. Imagine let's just say women can understand this. And of course, men, we got logic, so we can pretty much understand it. We don't have to get it done. But imagine going to the salon and you only want one hairstyle. You want one hairstyle. But you got four ladies there trying to do your hair all at one time, and everybody wants to give you a style of their own. Then, of course, you're getting ready to put it in one style. Then you have the other person getting ready to undo it and do it in another style. That's your society today. And then what you end up having when it's all said and done is chaos. Your hair will never get done. Whatever your style is going to be everywhere on your head. Not to mention the different chemicals that each one of them is putting in your hair. And each one of them is blow drying. They're using a hot comb. You're going to lose hair in the process. And your hair is going to come out a pile of hell. That's the reality. That is your society. But grandma didn't have that. So because she didn't have that confusion, she was focused on the future. So what she did was stay by his side because they saw something that I'm going to share with you right now. And here it is. Right? It's what I'm going to share with you that you should already know. They were willing to sacrifice because they realized that they were better together. Because it's a whole lot easier to have someone there who's the boss. He's a leader. He's the protector. He is the police. He is the firefighter. He's the mechanic. He's the plumber. He can be your confidant, and he's always going to be there. See, grandma knew how tragic it would be and dramatic to need to pick up the phone to call her brother or her father. She's there at home, can't fix the plumbing. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, that this generation don't understand. It's not about you not being able to do it by yourself. It's not that grandma could not do it. No. I find it very interesting how much of a low IQ we are in this generation. No, you are. Not you, but you who is the ignorant ones, listen to the sound of my voice, who don't comprehend what I'm trying to say. I find it very interesting that it's hard to figure this out because of how twisted your mind is. It is very easy or easier to come home, let's just say for the man, from a hard day's work at construction. His boots is caked with mud. His shoulders hurt. His pants is dirty. Face is full of grime. Hair is haphazard. Luggage is heavy. All he wants to do is come home and unwind after a hard day's work. I find it very hard pressed for a man to actually want to come home and do extra work. Clean the house, cook for himself, stand there in the kitchen for about 30 to 40 minutes trying to prepare it, depending on what it is. Mop his floor, clean the walls. Because eventually, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed, it piles up. Even if he ignores his own chores being a single bachelor, even if he ignores, well, whatever tasks need to be done, even washing his own clothes, it's going to pile up. Now, yes, he could be a millionaire. If he's a millionaire, he can pay people to do that. But how many men can afford that? Let's be in reality here. You know, how many men can order a tailor or a maid or someone who's going to cook for them all the time, or stop at a restaurant, Qdoba or something like that? You know, every now and then, maybe Chick-fil-A, get something to eat really quickly. That's just going to cause them to become even more, you could say, lazier and a lot more out of shape and unhealthy. It is healthier to eat a home-cooked meal, fresh vegetables, fresh food, chopped up just right, and it's very therapeutic if you do it the right way. Trust me, I watch my girls. I know it's very interesting. Sometimes I jump in because I like cooking myself, but watching them is very therapeutic. They enjoy cooking. They laugh. They joke. They throw powder at themselves. You know, what's that, flour or something like that, cornmeal. I don't eat that type of stuff. I'm just giving an example here. Sit there and laugh while they, throwing fish bones. But anyhow, It can be therapeutic. Plus, they got each other, so that's a different story if she's all by herself. But still, you got your wife has the radio. You know, your single girlfriend, she has a cell phone. She can call her sister while she's cooking in the kitchen. You know, she can call her daughter or something. You know, she can play the radio or watch some small TV set over the stove or over the sink. But however, those are dangerous places. I'm just saying, you know, wherever you put your miniature television on the countertop. But anyhow, so it gets hard if he has to do that every day to take care of his life outside of home and in the home. So what happens if a woman's a good woman, he can do it on his own, I'm sure, yeah. Especially if he knows how to cook and provide for himself. He knows how to groom himself, clean his own floor, keep his house in order. But just having that extra person there just makes your life a little easier because we're better together. I can't imagine a man who would not want, and I haven't talked to too many men like that anyway, especially in this generation, but I mean, lesser men, but I can't imagine a man who would not want to just come home and things are there. No, the smell of food cooking, the house is warm, especially in the wintertime. In the summertime, the house is cool. His shoes is at the door. His favorite meal is on the table, or the dog is fed. The room is clean. He left the house and the bed was a mess all over the place. Shoes were thrown here and there. Hat was where he don't want it to be. His favorite jersey was sitting over on a chair, and dishes was piled up, and just things just wasn't right. He had to rush out for a meeting. He had to leave the house. I'm pretty sure in the back of his mind, if he keeps doing that, when he comes back home on a Friday, try to get it done, it's going to be hell. But just imagine this guy leave the home and it's like that, and comes back home and everything is together. It makes life a lot more peaceful. So Grandpa saw that and said it was worthwhile dealing with or handling whatever issues, failures, flaws, because women aren't perfect, neither are men. Whatever issues that she had. So that's why they called it in the older days, let's go hazard together. What does that mean? Let's go hazard together, because relationships can be a hazard. It can be chaos. So if the person said, yes, let's hazard, they immediately realize they're going to have to put in work in a relationship. Unlike today's lazy generation, who is push button, instant gratification, fast food mindset. They don't understand that impatient. Evidence, relationships don't even last long anymore, outside of 5 years. 5 years is usually the max, but your grandparents last for like 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And I'm giving you the recipe here as to why. In reverse, the woman, you could say, grandma, tolerated grandpa, stepping out every now and then. She knew, she just didn't care. Because in her mind, it's better for that than for him to step out completely, and she has to defend herself. We're not going to get too in-depth in that, because now we're going to extend the lesson too long. I know what you are going to say in the comment box, you who thinks according to today. Okay, you're looking at the far end, I'll call that the far node or zone of human de-evolution. Okay? In the older days, in the days before now, Grandma didn't care about what you care about. Grandma cared about being with her man. Grandma seen this guy as valuable because of what he brought into her life. Grandma appreciated men. Grandma said it's better for him to be here, whether he steps out every now and then, again, stay at the cigar lounge too long. I don't know where he's at. He got somebody pregnant over there on the other, let's just say in a different country, or maybe overseas. Again, this is a different country, a different state. But is he going to come back home? So what happened was, eventually, as you know, no marriage is going to be a fun ride. You know, most marriages aren't going to be cotton candy and all fun and games. No, you got to grit your teeth. It's going to be a hazard. Grandma realized that that is just what men do, or at least her man. But again, There was no negative influences from other women telling her, you should leave that bastard. Why is he there so long? And why is he? I don't know. You should go find a better man. Go get a man who's 6 feet tall and he's too short, or, he snores when he sleeps. Oh, that's just so disgusting. He likes broccoli. Oh, go find a man who likes chicken instead. No. How about this? Well, you're a college graduate? You got a PhD, honey? And he's a plumber? No, don't be with him. He's not making as much money as you. Even though with the illogic of most common women, they don't understand that plumbers make good money. And they think it's just simply him bending over showing his ass crack. That is the definition of a plumber. But you'd be surprised the plumbers is the reason why you have an unflooded city and town. The reason we have plumbers, you have fresh, good running water to wash your nappy scalp. Or for some of you, your wig. For a lot of you, maybe your horse mane. So you need to give plumbers respect. However, moving along, besides the jokes, haha, LOL. Grandma didn't just jump out because of all the options that she had, and because of, again, thinking that the grass was greener on the other side, because she realized that she was going to get older eventually, because Grandma was once 30. Grandma was once 25, 27. She was young, just like you, or some of them that you see on these, you could say, podcasts. That was Grandma years ago when she was 20, 19 years old. But she wasn't raised to be a thought. She wasn't raised to be a 304. A 304 was shamed. Yes, it was. Being on a stripper pole was shamed in the juke joint. They didn't have stripper poles, at least I don't know. I don't care that much about it because I never went back to history of the stripper pole. You can do that for yourself. I don't care here because that's not my thing. I have my strippers at home on a permanent basis. I am the pole. Okay? So, there you go. However, so she stayed with them and she benefited because what happens is this. She says, I don't mind cooking in the kitchen for my husband because it was a thing of beauty. It was a therapeutic. It was a benefit not only for him but for her because it's almost like paying it forward. Because what happens is if he's eating, she plates this meal before him with nice steaming macaroni and cheese, hot meatloaf, and who knows what type of bread it was, and side dish and pecan pie, or maybe some pumpkin bread, a little bit of here and there, and some sprinkles of love. Some greens, and who knows, whatever else she made. That it makes his day a whole lot easier so he can work easier. That way he's less stressed, he's less frustrated, he's less bothered, because now his stomach is warm and he has the nutrition that he needs to go for. So if there was an invader, if a bear, a wolf, or any intruder was to come around the house or cabin or humble abode, he can act. He can go pull out the blowhorn, shotgun. No, he'll be prepared to pick up the phone if he have to. He has enough energy to walk up and down the stairs and to continue because she don't want to be a widow. And another thing that Grandma knew is that, well, she wasn't too worried like a lot of you new age, today's well indoctrinated, confused, and definitely lied to generation of thinking something's going to happen to this guy. Because the chances was, in evidence, Grandma and Grandpa survived long enough to have you in this generation. Grandma and Grandpa did not complain nor argue like this generation. Of course, they didn't have the internet, so we can't actually see them in action talking like you're talking. But according to what most people say, if you walk around town and you go places and you ask the general public, how long have their grandma and grandpa been together, you'll be surprised that the majority, way over, I could assume about 67% or so, they will probably say that their parents or great grandparents have been together for a while. In record, they've been together for a while, and a lot of them had large families as well. Why do I say this? Because in that evidence lets you know that they stuck in with their relationship. Now, you got other people that may say that, well, it wasn't a beautiful thing. They may have stayed together, but it was a patriarchy. It was a tough situation. They always went through something, and she felt trapped. She didn't want to be there, but she didn't have no rights to go places and go things, and he was controlling her, and he was just doing what he thought as a traditional thing to do, just to be the man of the home, and marriages wasn't a happy time for women, and it was just so struggling. She had a choice just like you have a choice. It may not have been according to government mandates that you get so easy today. The American average woman who, complains about equality, even though most of the military is, I'm not going to go there. You already know, my listeners, if you do your research. It's amazing because if you really think about it, okay, they stayed together a long time and families were together. People trusted in people. People cared for people. There wasn't a lot of what you have today with this mass, you could say, deletion, people walking around and just deleting people because they feel like it. They feel like it in their feelings. It wasn't a lot of feelings. It was logic, not feelings. It was thinking. It wasn't about feelings. It was about duty to the family, duty to the future, and duty to the fact that if she feeds and takes care of this man, in return, he's going to take care of her. Grandma knew this. She was smart. See, let's do the facts today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and do it, because I'm going to go ahead and bring this to a close. Today, now, as I speak, there are more women than ever on antidepressants. There are more women with dogs as children, and some husbands, indeed. There are more women who are unhappy, stressed out, frustrated, can't find a man, and are also a economically attractive male, financially wealthy male. There are more women that are single and unmarried and frustrated and waiting too long to get married and are freezing their eggs today than there ever used to be in the history of America. Why is this? Because you didn't see, or shall I say, they didn't see what their grandmothers saw. Do you understand? I'm showing you some keys here. Some of you aren't getting it, but some of you already figured it out. Grandma said in her mind, it's better together than apart. She didn't look at her college degree and say, well, let me do this just in case he failed, or he would lose his job, or he would get hurt and become paralyzed. Grandma said, I am going to trust in my skills at, listen. Grandma said, I am going to trust in my skills as a woman to keep this man fed, warm, taken care of. I'm going to cook clean, good, wholesome meals. I'm going to keep the house clean and sanitary. I'm going to keep his kids in line. I am going to do the delegations and the conversations and the social circling. So when he comes home, his stress is just about gone. He is geared up, he is fueled, and he's polished, and he's ready to go back out there. And I'm going to sex him until he is satisfied. If he needs to have a dessert, that's cool by me. As long as he comes back home, he's coming back to the filling station. So whatever happens, it is out of my power, but I'm doing the best that I can as a woman because I am confident. I am confident. I am confident in myself that I have what it takes to keep this relationship going. And apparently, for more than half, and for your generation that's here today and the generations that have been here today, apparently it have worked. Because the odds of failure was very short. That was only for a few. There wasn't women around talking about, well, my husband passed away and I had to survive on my own and I starved and I struggled and I had to get a job. That might happen to yours, darling. She didn't have those negative fears in her ear. So she dedicated herself to just making it, what's the word? She dedicated herself to the hazard of a marriage and a relationship. Only when he is neglected, when he is catching stress and he has to bear the entire labor on his own, and he has to deal with the world, and he has all the arrows and daggers coming at him like most men today, and he's being demasculated, and he's being disenfranchised, and he's being unappreciated as he's out there laying pipe or taking care of the generators and the light system and keeping this world going. Only then will increase his chances of not surviving, or hurting himself, or severing his limbs, or struggling to survive because he doesn't have the necessary garage or service station, or you can say the cow at home to feed him, to keep him going. So the mindset of the common woman today is on a reverse, and it's declined of logic. Again, the evidence is, has it been working? No, it hasn't been working. What I'm talking about is, don't get mad, ladies, just is just the facts. If you tell me that an apple's an apple, then I'm going to cut it open and see if it's an apple. For the apple seeds, it's red or green, or of course, golden delicious. It may be an apple. But if you're telling me that if the common, let me reverse. I digress. Okay. If the common woman is saying it's better for her to get her own bag, her PhD, and do it for herself because she can't trust a man, or she just don't want to bond herself as grandma did to her grandfather in the olden days, then you would show me where there is positive progress. But as we know of in America, statistically and by facts that you can see every day, there isn't positive progression. It's negative digression. We are receding. The world is getting, not the world, the westernized modern world today, the new age way of thinking, the NWO, okay, is not good for the modern woman, and it's definitely not good for the modern man, because we are better together. So grandma, seeing that, she did not want to be a 46-year-old woman drinking boxed wine. She didn't want to suffer laying next to her money or Pedro the dog. Okay? She did not want to be this so-called boss babe traveling back and forth to Vegas or Chicago on a premium flight without a man sitting next to her. She looked at the odds and said, again, what did I just say before? What did I just say a couple of times? We are better together. So the both of them, especially her, made sacrifices. That's what Grandpa and Grandma have done. They made sacrifices for the better good. Let me say that again. They made sacrifices for the better good. She figured no matter how the rules are, mandates, whether she was disenfranchised, whether she couldn't vote, whether she was universally looked at as a stay-at-home mom, whatever excuses you may come up with, it doesn't matter. The results is what matters. The results is it actually worked. The question wasn't, was they happy in a relationship? Relationships aren't always happy. The question wasn't, was it the best marriage in the world? Was the marriage flourish? Was it blessed by God? Was it the best thing that she could do? Was it like being at a theme park? Okay, that wasn't the question. The question was, how come our great grandparents, our even greater grandparents, have survived and lasted so long? That was the question. The reason why they lasted so long, because they were willing to make sacrifices to stay together. For whatever reason that might be, that's none of my business. We're not going to ever know in complete detail as to why those two stayed together. But we can easily put the math together and logic together and figure it out. That in just understanding marriage itself, some of us being in marriages, some of us watching marriages, some of us being around marriages, some of us staying with married people, we automatically know, like seeing the paint job on the outside of a car. Okay, you know it's a car and you know the color of the paint job and the way that it's being driven. You can easily realize if it's driven with care or driven aggressively, and not only by the damages on the outside of the car, but by the way it sounds as well. So in a marriage, whether you've been in it or not, universally, the idea of marriage for, the common person should be very easy to understand. It's not the best thing, but it's not the worst thing either. It's not as if you're going to heaven when you get married, but it's not like you're going to hell either. You're right in between paradiso. As a matter of fact, you're neither here or there. It's all based on the couple. It's based on what sacrifices you are willing to make. And the longer the relationship lasts, the new generation would think because there was no options that grandpa or grandma may not have had. We tend to think that way because of the new generation, because of how you new people from Jupiter and Mars coming down here to human Earth may act. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about today. In those days, grandma and grandpa didn't give a damn about options. They cared about results. And the results was longevity according to their merit, according to their morality, according to their trust and honor to each other, and they had more soul and reason to do so. Those values is a lost art today that you're going to be hard pressed to find a couple who has that. But when you do, you're going to see two people that has to be ready for hazard, because marriage is a roller coaster. Of course, I myself, as you know, will not recommend marriage today, because again, this is not grandma and grandpa's generation. This is the new generation that the entire society is angling on destroying relationships and are destroying the male. How do you do this? When you praise one team over the other, okay, that's called cheating. Or when you give one party, one couple, one person, one group, one team, more points, more benefits, more cheat codes, basically, and you give them a chance to make false passes. They can fumble and pick the ball up. They can run to the goal line twice. When you do that, you're looking at a system that's rigged for destruction. And in the modern day today, the reason why marriages can't survive, one, is everything I just said. Y'all don't look at marriage or relationships as the concern for the person. You get into marriage for money and for vanity and for looking for the next best thing because you're never satisfied. Okay, so you would never think like grandma and grandpa. And for two, the society will not ever give you the opportunity to do so because, yes, we are better together than we are apart. But for your evil, for your true devils in your society and your system, for the true people who are and is controlling your social dynamics, you are better apart than together. Because when you, dear lady, and you, my dear sir, when you are apart, those people make money off of your separation. So they will never want to have you get back with her and reenact the grandma and grandpa, let's just deal with each other attitude. For in doing so means that people cooperate. In doing so means that the world's a better place. In doing so means, well, there's more birth for America of people who are actually together. In doing so means dad's at home and mom's at home. In doing so means you have a structure at home that is good for your child, and that structure is going to be good for the child's future. And therefore, the demons that make money off of your separation will not make money. They will just disappear in the shadows of, the abyss. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Very small, short, sweet. I could add more, but that's going to be from the time. I can add a lot to it, but I'm not going to do it. We'll just save that for a different message. You heard it here and now, and that is the reason why grandma and grandpa have survived and stayed in their relationships a lot longer than today's relationship, because we just don't realize how far we have fallen. Until next time.